Thankfully, I'm well rid of it now. IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, nervous stomach, irritable bowel, irritable colon, call it what you like. It's all the same. Awful. It left me feeling frustrated, exhausted, depressed, and, at times, just plain angry. But today, I can confidently say that these things are all a thing of the past. When it all began. Now that I'm IBS free, I've managed to get my life on track. But this hasn't always been the case. It first hit me at college during my exams. Terrible timing. But not really that much of a surprise when you think about it. Thinking back to when IBS really began to rear its ugly head, stress and assignment deadlines were constantly hanging over me. In retrospect, after everything I've learned since becoming IBS free, it was an accumulation of things that contributed to my deteriorating health, stress being just one of them. But still, I had no idea what was going on with me. Back then, I guess I just put it all down to those exam nerves. Wouldn't you? Food slowly started to become my mortal enemy. Without going into too many unpleasant and graphic details, it either disagreed with me and went straight through me, or bloated me to the point where I sometimes appeared pregnant. My typical diet was that usual student diet. You know, the kind that was ridiculously high in carbs, lots of grease, salt galore. Basically, I ate anything sweet and stodgy, as you do in your college years. But that wasn't anything new. I'd been eating like that for some time. Partying was also the norm. It wouldn't really be college if it were any different, right? But like I said, my diet hadn't really given me any grief up until that point. Bang. Just like that, it came from nowhere. Even now that I don't suffer from IBS anymore, I can vividly remember the physical and emotional turmoil my body went through time and time again. Mild cramps that turned into gut-wrenching ones. Thank God I finally said goodbye to these IBS symptoms once and for all a while back. I always thought that I had a high pain threshold, but the first time I really suffered from it properly, I knew all about it. I remember buckling over with the worst cramps I'd ever experienced. I have no words to really describe how it felt. At times, it felt like a knife had been stabbed into my stomach and twisted around ever so slowly. I ended up going to the campus doctor. He sent me home, told me to drink more fluids and stop worrying. Exam stress, he said. Stop worrying? How? Easier said than done. I guess he didn't remember how he felt at medical school when his entire future was riding on a few hours in an exam room. Luckily, I haven't had to see a doctor for any IBS-related symptoms for years now, which I'm grateful for, as I felt like I had a medical loyalty card at one point, which would give me X points for every visit. If loyalty cards for doctor's visits were actually a thing, I'd have certainly racked up a fair few points. Next, another doctor put it down to bad menstrual cramps and put me on the contraceptive pill to try and control it better. It didn't work. And then this happened. 2 days before my exams, I found myself in bed, writhing in pain and suffering from diarrhea. Despite not having experienced such excruciating pain in years, it's all still very vivid. You just can't unforget some things. Every few minutes, I found myself in the bathroom, afraid if I moved, I'd have a very embarrassing mishap, which, of course, was the last thing any college student wanted. Imagine! Again, I found myself back in the doctor's surgery, staring at the sterile white walls, trying to blink back tears, and begging him to fix me so I could do my exams. The same doctor as the last time gave me Imodium and told me to rest up. Needless to say, those exams didn't go so well. I listened to the doctors and wrote it all off. The best thing is I don't have to spend endless hours in doctors' surgeries or hospitals waiting for answers anymore. I'm proud to say that I haven't stepped into a doctor's office for almost a year and a half, which is quite a feat for somebody that had once frequented every family practice in the locale on a regular basis. The exercises I did and still do at home, sometimes when I have a moment, I also do them at work, because they're that short and that easy. And when I have to travel for work, I often find myself doing them on the plane. They're great because I can incorporate them into my everyday life with ease without any disruption. I've learned to change my lifestyle. I continue to follow all the instructions because by doing this, I know that I'll be able to maintain a life free of IBS and its crippling symptoms. Click below to get your easy-to-follow step-by-step program today. Nothing to lose. What have you got to lose by trying this method out, other than your awful IBS symptoms and unhappiness? Even in my desperation, I was a little skeptical of it all, especially since I tried and failed so many other methods, and no doctor I'd visited could help me like I'd hoped they would. This clear program isn't made up from nothing. It's based on scientific, factual evidence concerning the triggers of IBS. It's an easy-to-follow plan, and because it's so easy, it's not that difficult to include in your life and make the necessary tweaks in the way you live. And if you're anything like me, once you start noticing the differences, you'll become determined to make it work for you and continue with the program well after the suggested time is up. Jalissa's program is different to the rest. It's so simple. It's easy to follow, and it also offers some step-by-step instructions. What makes this plan even more unique is that it looks at IBS holistically. It looks at every aspect of IBS and all its triggers. From there, everything is separated into manageable chunks, which make it easy and even fun to follow. Trust me when I say you won't live to regret this. I hope that you too can find all the answers for your IBS you're looking for, just like I did. Here's to living IBS-free forever. You're 90 seconds away from owning a program designed to make things right for you.